there is luck, sometimes, but I think luck is being prepared at the right opportunity. I think that's what luck really is. It's not luck is not going to come out of the sky. It's just being prepared at the right time.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to this episode of the Mindset Podcast. Today, we are joined by two extremely business-minded individuals, but more importantly, two good friends of ours. Disclaimer, this might be my favorite episode yet because we have three St. Brendan alum in the house today representing. Gabe, you missed out, brother. I don't know why you didn't go to the best high school, but this might just be my favorite one because we got three St. Brendan alum. Chris is the president of the Sales Society at FIU, and Gabriel is the vice president of the Sales Society. Thank you both for joining us and taking the time out. I know you guys are extremely busy with what you guys got going on, but I appreciate your time. Chris, we'll start with you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're about?
So I just want to first say thank you guys for inviting us on. We're super stoked, super happy to be here, and definitely just showing you guys what the club is about. And I'm now the president of the Sales Society. I started in the Sales Society last fall of 2019 as the president's chair, and then moved up to vice president. And then now in the fall of 2020, I'm going to be the president. So just a little bit about me and what I've done with the club is we have something called the Panther Sales Tournament. And this is something where we work on our role play skills, and we actually work with our corporate sponsors so that they could test our skills and kind of see where we're at. And out of I think it was 72 or 60 something students, I came in seventh. And that was the first competition I ever have done. So I was like, I think I have something with the sales thing. I think I kind of get it. So the number one lesson that I learned was the first meeting was about the growth mindset, about having a growth mindset to be able to learn different things. And when I heard that, I just clicked with the club and I've stuck with it.
Right, that difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. I think there's a book actually titled that, Growth Mindset versus Fixed Mindset. We're going to get into it a little bit later, but we'll go ahead. Gabriel, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, like Chris said, thank you guys for having us both on. I love what your podcast is all about, the mindset and just always being hungry and ready for more. So now I'm the vice president of the Sales Society. Last semester, I was the vice president of marketing. So I was in charge of all the marketing for the club. When I came to FIU, I was lost on what I wanted to do. I know I wanted to be in the business, but I just wasn't really sure on where I wanted to take my career. And that's where I found these two professors from Florida National University, which I want to give them a shout out, Rafael Soltero and Nicolo Alemo. They've been, great advisors. And ever since I took their class and they mentioned the Sales Society, I went to that club for some extra points for class. And since then, fell in love with it, became a member. And, now I'm here with Chris and that's the story.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Just hearing you guys talk, I mean, it's pretty obvious that, you guys don't want to just be average, right? Anthony and I, we actually had a podcast not too long ago with one of our mentors, and we spoke specifically on, the difference between being average and, being above average. And I think it's pretty clear to say that all four of us here on this podcast right now, we're nowhere where we want to be. We have so much more potential. But I want to ask you guys, what did you guys do that you got from average being, high schoolers to now president and vice president of the Sales Society and, such a bright future ahead of you?
So definitely when I started FIU, what started the whole hard work mindset and stuff was when I got my first job at FIU, actually in GC, the Graham Center at FIU. And I was a custodian. So I was actually cleaning tables, throwing out trash. And I was like, you know what, this is going to be the start of me having that mindset of hard work pays off, So then I started doing that. And then 3 months later, I got moved up to AV Tech. So I was working with PowerPoints and things like that. And then that just transitioned in the first 3 months of being in a job really taught me about how our time can be valuable. So I started to think to myself, if I can increase my skill set, I can also increase how much I'm worth value-wise and also monetary-wise. Because at the end of the day, we all grind and stuff to be able to be financially free, to be able to have the benefits of that stuff. It's not always about that and only about that, but it's part of it, you know? So I wanted to be able to build those skills. So then I started looking around, joining some clubs and things, and then I clicked with the sales society, and that's really where I found my skills to excel the most. And that's really the foundation, is the hard work mindset of no matter where you're working, no matter what you're a part of, just doing your best and putting your best foot forward.
Yeah, if I can just add there before Gabriel, you make a response. Gabe, you mentioned something very good there, Chris. Of whatever you do, and the mindset I have is the same thing. Whatever you do, make sure that if it has your name on it, do it to the best of your ability. Exactly what you said. So, Chris, I'm sorry, Gabriel, go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I completely agree with Chris. You know, when I was beginning my college career, you know, there was a lot of time that I felt I was wasting. You know, I definitely could have taken advantage of my time better in the beginnings of my career in college. And there was just this point where I just said, you know, the actions that I'm taking now, they aren't taking me to where I want to be in the future. You know, so with that mindset, I completely switched, and I was like, you know what, I need to start making actions now that are going to reflect tomorrow. And a big thing in that is passion. You have to find what you're passionate about, you know, or else you're just going to be always lost. And that's where I found the sales society, and I was able to really click all of my skills and talent, and the sales society really helped me grow as well with that. And I just became very passionate, and you know, that's where that mind growth of trying to develop yourself always just came from.
A question that Gabe and I get a lot, especially after we started this podcast, is how we define success. Like, what's the definition personally for me of what success is? And at first, I truly, to be honest with you, I didn't know. I really didn't know. But the more I talk to people like you guys, the more I talk to mentors, people who have experience, the more I realize that the definition of success is different for everybody. All four of us probably have a different definition of success. My definition of success, I can tell you, is making it to the top of the mountain, but with all my friends there. You know, if I make it to the top, if I make it big time, whatever that is, and it's just me, and I look around and there's nobody around me, I failed. I don't want that for me. I want to make it to the top, and I want Gabriel, I want Gabe, I want Chris, all of us to make it to the top together. So my question to you, Chris, what's your definition of success?
So that's actually a very good question. A great question, actually. It's something that many people probably overlook. But I've given this question a lot of thought. To me, success is being able to wake up to a life that I've created that brings me not only happiness, but I wake up with passion and fire so that I feel like I'm doing something for others. And I love the way you say that you want your people to be with you at the top. And it's so true, because I read a quote a few years ago that said, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
So if you're not increasing the value of those people that you spend the most time with, and you're still increasing your own value, you're kind of doing them a disservice, because you got to bring the people up with you. So I love the way you mentioned that. And definitely I would say just living a life that is fulfilling, that brings you happiness, whatever it may be, because some people may want to make it big time, make a ton of money. And there's people that don't really care, that they would love to wake up and just do art. So whatever it is that you want to do, make sure it's something that brings you happiness. And I believe that will bring you success to your own life.
Gabriel?
Yeah, so you know, like Chris said, that quote I think is amazing. You know, it's very true, and that's why, you know, one of the reasons why I joined the club, and especially sales societies, because that was a mindset that everybody had, and I knew better than me who could help me up. And you know, to your question, Anthony, to success, for me, you know, it's a short definition, and it's a positive outcome. You know, so what that means is, a lot of people think success is something that you're going to get to, or you know, once you get there, that's it, you're successful. You know, success is an ongoing thing that, you know, it's not always given to you. Success can be something that, you know, a goal that you reach, that's success. Even starting a business that might have failed, if you look at that business negatively, then that's not success. You know, if you find something positive out of that negative, it's still success, because you've gained something from it. You know, you've succeeded from it. You didn't let it fail you. So for me, success is something that, you know, you're always striving to get. You know, it's not always given to you. You'll never reach it, but every single moment that you get of an accomplishment, you should always be proud of yourself and feel successful.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Great answer.
Yeah,
great answer.
Guys, great answer. I completely agree with both of you. I feel like, you know, more about what Chris was saying. I still believe that we're all successful right now. You know, I feel like we can wake up. I can speak for the four of us that we can wake up and we're already passionate about what we're doing. Although we haven't, you know, hit the status or the end goal that we all want to, I can still say that we're successful. You know, and my next question, and I feel like is a pretty broad question, and I've, you know, Anthony and I have gone this question before. We've asked a lot of our speakers too. But how much of your success, again, going back, we haven't made it yet, but you guys have, you know, you guys are an average. It's clear to say. But so how much of that success do you really attribute to maybe luck? I know you guys both said that you guys really had to work hard for your skill, or you guys might have stumbled upon it. I really want to get your insight as far as, do you attribute any luck to your success, or was it straight hard work, skill, and dedication?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and take that first. You know, I think there is luck, you know, sometimes, but I think luck is being prepared at the right opportunity. You know, I think that's what luck really is. It's not, luck is not going to come out of the sky. It's just being prepared at the right time. And you know, I think that's what happened to me and Chris. And you know, a good story actually about me and Chris is that, you know, we went to the club at the same time. We became both members. And I remember speaking to Chris and saying, you know, this is for us, you know, we're going to make it big, man. Let's go for it. And now, you know, we joined the executive board of the Sales Society. We were both elected. I became a marketing officer. Chris became the president's chair. And then from there, he became, you know, the president. And then I became the marketing officer and then the vice president. So, you know, it's always a constant mindset of growing.
And piggyback of the way Gabe mentioned it, of being prepared at the right time, I would definitely say it's a big thing, is definitely being prepared at the right time. And also, I saw this quote once that I relate really well with. It says, hard work puts you where luck can find you. So it's always about putting in the work. The thing is, people always want to people want to go from A to B, but are not willing to take the steps forward necessary to get there. That's the differentiation, is we're all 19, 18, 20, 22 years old, and we're, instead of partying and doing things that are wasting our time, we're reading books, we're going to these clubs, we're taking part in things that are going to help increase our value for our future, because we're not where we want to be, like Gabe said. But the fact that we're on the journey, we're already successful, because there's people that are not even taking the responsibility to be on that path. So it's about choosing to be on the path and the journey. And I think that's probably what makes someone successful, is choosing the responsibility and accountability to be on the path to success. And boom, you're already there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with what both of you said. I think that half the battle is showing up. You just got to show up. You know, if you're not feeling it, you know, Gabe and I talk about it all the time. Sometimes we don't feel like posting, or sometimes we don't feel like doing an episode. It doesn't matter how we feel. You know, our viewers don't care. You guys don't care. It's about showing up. That's half of it. Now, once you're there and you're showing up, the other part is executing. Once you show up and you mix that with execution, that's success. That's when you go places, right? Chris, I have a question for you. You posted a quote this morning by Robert, one of the sharks from Shark Tank. I'm gonna read it out now, and I want your thoughts on it, and Gabriel, yours as well. It says, and I really like this one: always trust your gut. It won't always be right, but if every decision was obvious on paper, every MBA student will be a multimillionaire. Love it. Love it. Chris, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you think behind that quote?
All right. So the first thing I want to say is definitely shout out to the Sharks. I mean, Robert Herjavec, he's a great entrepreneur, great businessman. I love his work. I really do. And I saw that quote, and the first thing that just hit me was, I'm currently taking on an entrepreneurship role. I just started my own LLC during this pandemic time. It's a very unfortunate times we're living in, but where there's hardship, there's also opportunity. So I saw it as an opportunity to open my own LLC, and I'm trying to create this online e-commerce business, trying to take that business plan and make it work. And I saw that quote, and it resonated so well with me, because if everything was just so cut and dry on pieces of paper and the answer was just there, everybody would make it, like he says. But that's not business. Business is getting that knowledge and putting it into practice, showing up and executing, like you mentioned, just to tie that into what you said. So
yeah, perfect.
It's all experience, I would say. I think that's what he's trying to get at, is that experience, getting your feet wet and getting the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one thing that I always say is, you can only connect the dots when you're looking back, you know. So sometimes a lot of things, they don't seem like it's making sense, or if you don't know it's the right step. But if you're passionate and you trust yourself and you know you're doing the right thing, it'll work out. And by the time you look back, it'll all make sense. And something I always say is, don't worry about it. It'll always work out. Because if you have that mindset, it's gonna work out either way. So it's all about that mindset.
Gabriel talks a lot about enjoying Gabe. Gabe talks a lot about enjoying the process. The best part about this, the best part about having this podcast, the best part about being into business, into real estate is the journey, the hard parts, the struggles, the messing up. That's the fun part for us. Once we make it, I think it'll be less fun for us because we lose the battle that we fight every day. But that's just a side note. You guys, I admire both of you because of your positions and because you guys are great people. Chris, you're the president. Gabriel, you're the vice president. That's an incredible step in the right direction for your success and for your futures. My question is, how do you, and something that I had to struggle with early on in leadership, and something that I still struggle in as the SGA president for Miami-Dade College, is how do you get people to listen to you, number one, and how do you get people to then follow you? That question will go with Chris.
All right. So that's a great question. And leadership, I believe the main key for leadership is, correct me if I say this incorrectly, but genuity, being genuine with with your people that are following you. Because if I try to lead, not by example and by lying and by saying things that are not true to me, my members will know. But by being the president, I'm taking on the role and responsibility of saying the truth, being genuine with my members. And I think that's where the members really connect with us the most. It's because we're just college kids. We're trying to make it. And we feel that we have made a few steps forward and we want to teach our members that. So I think that's how they can look up to you and they see us as that validation of, maybe they're right because we're speaking from the heart and we're giving them that truth,
Mm-hmm. I was also, like you guys, newly elected. I've been in the position of president probably for about a month and a half, and I messed up. And this is something that I haven't really spoken out about, but I think it's fitting for this podcast, for this episode. My mindset, and Gabe can attest to this, is of course I care about people and everybody under me, of course. But my mindset is more of let's go, let's get it. Like, what's next? Okay, we accomplished that. What can we do more? How can we get better? Where can we adjust? So when I got elected, we hit the ground running. Me and my team, we weren't going at it. We were going hard, working every day. And I missed a very important step that was brought to my attention. And that was bonding, getting to know each other. With that bonding aspect, that family aspect, I missed it. I completely missed it. I was more focused on working hard than getting to know my executive board, my vice president. I missed it. And that I'm not gonna lie to you. I was down for a couple of days because it hurt. It hurt that other people thought that I didn't care about them. It's not true. I didn't act on it, right? So, Gabriel, my question is, with that being said, how much of an emphasis do you place on setting a good culture, and what culture do you guys want to set? And this is really for both of you. What culture do you want to set this year for the Sales Society?
That's actually a really good question so one of the first, when I came to the meetings as a member to the Sales Society, what really struck me out was somebody from the executive board came up to me before the meeting started and just started talking to me, just wanted to get to know me. And right there, I felt a connection with the club. They really wanted to help me. It wasn't just about joining a club and sticking it on your resume. It was a lot more than that. You're really building relationships, and and that's in the culture of the Sales Society. In the beginning of every meeting, we dedicate 10 to 15 minutes to just talk to our members. We don't start our club right away. Everybody take a seat, listen and look at the PowerPoint. Absolutely not. It's about really understanding our members, our executive boards, really want to know why they're there. What is your goal? What is your purpose? We want to help you take you there. If you don't let us know where you want to go, how can we help you? So I think that's a really important thing to do. And that's something that we have in our culture here at the Sales Society.
Yeah. Something that me and Anthony, we always really preach on is that, one, you need to lead by example. First of all, like Chris was saying, you can't just, talk the talk and not walk the walk. You know, you really have to lead by example, lead from the front. My question to you is when you do talk to your members of the club, you know, different people, when you really set that culture, I'm sure you guys are dealing with numerous amount of people all the time. What's the dynamic when it comes to maybe someone talking bad about you, or you know, someone talking behind your back? You know, maybe a member leaves with a bad taste in their mouth. What goes on in your mindset? Do you kind of brush that off? Do you address it? Does that get you down? Does that motivate you? I'm just curious to know, you know, the dynamic that goes on in your head.
Yeah,
So
no, it's definitely the accountability. You know, as a leader and somebody who's, you know, overlooking a club and making sure that everybody's, you know, going forward, is really taking accountability for your own actions. And you know, in sales, in the sales process, you really want to understand your customer before you can carry on and provide a solution. So you know, like you said, when you're dealing with somebody who is talking bad or just had a bad taste, before providing a solution to their problem, which you don't even know the problem, you know, you need to identify what the problem is. So that's really one of the ways that I handle it. You know, being able to really change the idea and influence other people is just really understanding their situation before I can then provide a solution. Uh, you can go ahead, Chris, and answer that as well.
I couldn't have said that better myself. That's Gabriel for you walking through the sales process, and that really works because the way we can look at it is think every time you speak with one of our members, you're selling to them. So if you're selling them the idea of the membership, you're selling that friendship, whatever you're selling, you're always selling something. So I love the way you explained that. I couldn't have said it better myself, honestly.
Thanks,
the
Chris.
the theme, yeah, great job on that explanation. The theme for this year for that I said for SGA is what's your why. Find your why, right? And by why I mean everything that you do in life, especially in student government, you have to start asking yourself, why am I going to do this? Why am I going to make this phone call? If you know your why deep down, if you really know your why, everything else that you do will follow and will be successful. So our theme, the culture that I want to instill is having a purpose. Find your purpose. Everybody has a different purpose. Everybody has a different function in the club. And my job as president and what I want to instill is the authority that people have. I want people to feel like they have a voice. I want people to feel like they can do something. They're not just a member. They're not just a number. You know, that's what I don't want them to feel, because I think if you make your members feel and my members feel like they're a part of something great, then they'll just work that much harder for you. They'll earn your trust, you'll earn their respect. And that's what you have to do as leaders. And that's what I think, from what I hear, what both of you guys are doing.
I love the way you put that. And we're actually, as a collective unit, as the executive leadership team and our professors, we're putting together our strategy for the fall 2020, what our schedule is going to look like, what our meetings are going to look like. And I love the way you put that. What we really want to focus on is getting the members with practice, making sure they're able to network and conversate with all of our corporate sponsors, and making sure they feel that they're not just sitting listening to a presentation like Gabriel had mentioned
Right.
before, where some clubs, they pay some money to be in the membership and then they're just sitting watching presentations. We want them to feel
Right.
as if they're
Right.
part of the meeting and they're taking part, like you mentioned.
Right.
And I wanted to add one thing there. You know, one thing that, you know, the executive board at the Sales Society and the professors and the members that we've all been able to do very well is get away from the titles. You know, so when we're at the club, you know, I'm not the vice president, Chris isn't the president, I'm Gabriel, Chris is Chris. If you need to go talk to him about something, or me or anybody, you can go do that with full confidence, full, like Chris said at the beginning, genuine, you know? So that's really what we've been able to display at the Sales Society.
I love that. I love what you just said there. You know, kind of, there, of course, there's a hierarchy and there's titles, but kind of getting rid of those titles. Like, nobody really needs to know about them, you know, and just being one with the members. I love that. I love what you said there. As leaders, I'm sure you all know that with that title, with being a leader, not everybody's going to like you. You're going to get a few people that just aren't going to agree. They don't get the vision. They don't get it. They're just not moving forward. Gabriel, how would you go about getting somebody to move who doesn't want to move? What would be your strategy there? How would you approach that?
So, you know, like I said, it goes back to the sales process. I mean, you're really selling somebody an idea. You know, you're selling them the motivation. Yeah, and the way that I would handle it is, like I said, you want to know, you want to understand the problem before you can provide a solution. So if someone's having an issue or something like that, you're not going to tell them, like if somebody who doesn't want to go to school, you're not just going to go up to them and be like, hey, you need to enroll now. They're going to be like, no, that's not what I want to do. You need to put the idea in their head without you telling them. So, and that's basically what sales is. It's you influencing them. It's like, I want to refer back to the movie Inception. Have you guys seen that movie?
Yep.
Yeah. So where they go in the head and they plant the idea, and then, the person by themselves does it. That's exactly what's happening. And that's exactly how you can get somebody to move forward. It's by helping them realize what their goals are. And that way, there you get a boost. That person completely changes personality, changes purpose, changes everything.
Yeah, that's so good. I mean, what you said there is gold, really, because I mean, going back to the leadership thing, leaders, a lot of people have this misconception, and for the most part, a lot of employers at jobs at Fortune 500 companies, they might be scared of their boss because he's the big guy, he's the president, so he's a CEO. And I love how you guys said that you guys get rid of those titles, because leaders are truly there to serve people. You guys are there to serve your members.
Absolutely.
It's so important because it's about trust also, and this goes hand in hand with sales. You need to get your customer to trust you, and trust could take years to build, and it could be lost like this. So it's something that you guys really hold. Being a leader, you can't just wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm gonna be a leader. I was watching a video the other day, and they said, being a leader, it's not from one day to the next. It comes with massive responsibility that you really need to take on, and you really need to have a sense of what that responsibility is, and you grow into a leader. He gave the example of I think it was Simon Sinek. Anthony put me on this video.
Yeah.
And he was giving the example of when you apply for a job and you might be an intern, and then maybe your 6 months is up, you get hired as a full-time employee, and then you're trained on that job, you do really good, you move on to the next position. Now you're managing people, but you're not trained how to manage people. You're not trained how to lead people. There's a big difference between a manager and a leader. And Anthony and I, we always go so in depth about this, because a lot of managers, they do really well about delegating, showing you, hey, do this, do that. But leaders, that's a whole different realm. And I truly believe that all four of us, we're in that realm of being leaders. Again, we're not anywhere where we want to be. But I think you guys are definitely on the path, especially with the Sales Society. Our theme for season 3 is influence. And I don't think, there's a better, analogy right now with sales and influence, because again, going back to your point, Gabe, you really have to be an influence on your customer in order to get them that sale. But I guess my next question to you is, and again, going back to the whole culture thing, and again, being a leader who serves people, how do you set that tone for your new members coming in? I know you guys mentioned a little bit about, getting rid of the titles, taking time to talk, but I'm really curious if you guys could go a little bit more in depth, and Gabe, we'll start with you, of how you guys really set the tone with the foundation. I know you guys mentioned you guys are now in the works of setting your schedules for fall. I'm sure you guys are strategizing how to really get new members. I'm curious to know, again, how do you set that tone for the incoming members?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the things, we'd like to highlight with the Sales Society is, although our club is directly for sales, we have our meetings on Thursdays, which are directly for sales. We have sales workshops and things like that. And then we also have our Tuesday meetings, which is strictly professional development. So for these meetings, it's time where, you teach your members on time management and defining your goals, business etiquette, mastering your interviews. So that's a way how we bring in and set the tone with our new members, letting them know, look, we want you to join our sales club, but even if you don't want to go towards a sales career, sales is incorporated in everything you do. But we also want to help you build as a professional in the career after you move on from FIU.
I love the way you said that, because we don't only build sales people, we also build professionals. That's really our main goal, is to make people realize, look, we go to university and we go to college to study and to get a job and to move on with our lives and to succeed and to have fulfilling lives. So if you come to the Sales Society, we don't only preach and tell people the way you were mentioning about outreach, like how do we get new recruits and new people into the members. We actually go to classes that have to do with business and kind of showcase the Sales Society, do a little presentation, And what we say is not only, hey, if you want to do sales, you want to make money, come to our club and go to our meetings. We say, if you want to work on yourself and you want to become a true professional and you want to really feel confident in whatever it is you want to do, because like Gabe mentioned, everything is sales. If you want to do music, if you want to do art, if you want to be a teacher, you have to publicly speak. You need to present yourself. You need to work on all these little things that do attribute to sales. So at the end of the day, you're working on your personal and professional image. So that's definitely what I would add to that.
You're selling yourself every day. Forget about career or selling yourself to in an interview. Every day, whoever you talk to, you're selling yourself. How you're dressed, how you speak, the eye contact, the shaking. You're selling yourself nonstop. And my question is, do you guys think that anybody can learn how to be good in sales, or you're born with it? Like, you have the charisma, or can you develop that?
So a lot of people think that only those people with the charisma, that natural ability. I would say to some extent, yes, because if you have a complete introvert that just can't really communicate and ask those good questions, yeah, you're not going to really be successful in the field. But if the only one, actually, there's, I would say, two things that you need to be able to make it in sales, which a good friend of ours, our former president, Brandon Urria, told me once. He said, if you're willing to learn and if you're willing to work, you're set. Because you have to have that open growth mindset to be able to listen to your peers, and also that ability to just work your, I don't want to say any bad words on here, but you gotta
bleep
work,
it out.
you gotta work your behind off, you know? You gotta, if you're willing to give that work ethic and learn, that's what makes a salesperson. Someone that's willing to listen, learn, and work. That's really it.
Yeah, and add one more thing to what Chris said, because I completely agree, is you have to be comfortable with being rejected. Our motto, like our how do I say this? Our slogan. Thank you, Chris. Our slogan is getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. So that's, in every situation it's going to be uncomfortable. I mean, the only time you're comfortable is at home or in your car alone. When you're dealing with somebody, when you're dealing with a new relationship, a new job, a new anything, it's going to be uncomfortable, and you need to learn to get comfortable, and that's where you really excel.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, me and Anthony, we were talking about this just the other day, that we do things literally every day that make us uncomfortable. And that's I think, uncomfortable, to get to where you want to be, you have to step out of your comfort zone. There's no choice, and I was at a networking event, or not a networking event, but like a convention, a conference, that's a better word for it, way before quarantine. And they had a speaker on, I forget his name, but he was a sales guy, just like you guys, well into his career. But when he said, he was telling a story of how he was getting started, and he was afraid of rejection, back to your point, Gabe. And what he did was, and I thought this was really interesting, what he did was he made sure to get 100 no's before he got a yes. So it was simple things. He'd be like, oh, can I have a free donut, at Dunkin' Donuts? No, simple things that he knew he would be rejected. So he would already get his consciousness, his mindset aware of the rejection. So then when it would be on, he would be on a sales call and he would hear no, he would brush it off like nothing. He was comfortable with it. And I think that's exactly what you guys are preaching now, because especially when it comes to sales, I can tell you firsthand, it's uncomfortable. You're talking to CEOs, top guys, someone who could potentially change your future on the phone. You don't want to say anything wrong. You don't want to, mislead, or it can be challenging. It could be tough. And I love that example. I always refer back to it. And I think that's such a valuable lesson. And again, back to you guys' point, is being comfortable with the uncomfortable. And I think that's such a huge lesson. But just to go back to things, I think it's clear again that all four of us, we're not where we want to be, but we have a huge and bright future with where we're headed, and especially you guys, Gabe and Chris, with the Sales Society. I'm curious to know, like, what's next? What's next for the Sales Society, and what's next for Gabe and Chris? Just in your personal lives, your personal endeavors. I know you guys are both in internships at the moment, so just tell us a little bit about what you're getting into. Gabe, we'll go with you first.
Yeah, definitely. So with this new coronavirus, we always want to be there for our members and, continue the group and continue the support, even when the coronavirus just started. I think it believed like during March, and FIU went completely online. We kept our meetings. We had Zoom calls, every Thursday, every Tuesday. We were there at 7 p.m., still with our members. And our members, are loyal. They were there. They were with us. They wanted to learn, even though these things were occurring, they were still wanted to learn. And, one of the things I really wanted to highlight is, although we are on a physical lockdown, we're not on a mental lockdown. A lot of people think that because we're on a physical lockdown and at home, that's it. Shoes off, feet on the couch, and I'm waiting until September to things open. And that's not how life works. Life moves on, and you really need to step up. And one of the things that Elon Musk said is that if there's somebody who's working 40 hours in 1 week and you're working 100 hours in that week, at the end of a year, what that person would have accomplished in 1 year, you've accomplished in 4 months. So it's about, even though if you're doing the same thing, it's about how much you put in. As far as what I'm doing now, I'm excited for, this upcoming fall and our challenges that we're going to face with Chris and our executive board with the club. I'm currently doing a pharmaceutical sales internship with Eli Lilly and Company. They're a Fortune 500 pharmaceutical company. So I've been dealing with that, and I'm enjoying it a lot, learning a lot. Learning the sales process, really incorporating everything I've learned from the Sales Society, which has really made me stand out. So I'm really thankful for that. But for me, that's the life update. What about you, Chris?
I love that quote from Elon Musk. I saw that interview and it was very impressive. He's a brain. But
yeah,
what I'm doing right now is I'm in a part-time role at TFC Marketing. It's a marketing agency in Doral. I was able to get an internship last year in around November, and then in January I was able to get promoted to a part-time, and now I'm getting a little more hours, so just saving up a little bit of that cash, but also learning about the e-commerce space and marketing and all that stuff, which kind of goes hand in hand with sales a little bit, and just kind of wrapping my mind around the customer and what does the customer expect from the brand. And I feel like we can tie that into sales, where if you understand your customer's needs, like Gabe was mentioning earlier, when you ask the right questions and you find out what are the issues the customer has in the sales process, you can find out the solution for them. And after this, hopefully the pandemic in September, November time come around, the fall semester, everything settles again, we can start going back to school and things like that. I really would like to find an outside sales role in an internship, hopefully with one of our corporate sponsors, ThyssenKrupp, Gartner, Tom James. All these companies are amazing companies that I would just love to get an internship role with, and that would be amazing to really start getting my feet wet with outside sales. That's the goal.
Do you know how crazy it is that we can go to sleep for the next 10 years and we're still young as hell? You know how crazy that is? Like, let that sink in. Like, all four of I'm hearing you guys and what you guys are doing and planning to do. I'm like, oh my God, you guys are so ahead of the game compared to everybody our age. We can literally go to sleep for 10 years and we'll still be what, 30, 32, 33. And that's super young. That is super young. We have so much time ahead of us. That's why Gabe and I say that this podcast is so great, because we get to meet people like you guys, have you guys on to the show, meet with you, collaborate with you. I love it. I love you guys. I love what you guys are about. I love doing with the Sales Society. I know Gabe is going to be heading over to FIU pretty soon, so hopefully he'll be part of that team. That'll be really exciting to see. But before we wrap it up, I want to ask you, where can people reach you guys if they're interested in joining the Sales Society?
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you, Anthony. So if you guys want to learn more or reach more, you can always go to our Instagram, which is FIU Sales Society altogether. Our LinkedIn as well. You can give us a follow. It's FIU Sales Society. And our website is salessocietyfiu.com. So if you have any questions or you want to learn more, just give us a DM in Instagram, shoot us a message in LinkedIn, or we also have a help chat on our website as well. So if you want to learn more, definitely go for that. And, as what you said, Anthony, I'm excited for the future for all of us, because, we have our head on straight and we know exactly what we want to do. Even though we don't know what's going to happen, we know that with the right mindset, it's going to take us directly where we want to go. I love what this podcast is about. And I just, I hope all the best for you guys.
And just to end to end it off on a little note, I would love to say there's no win or lose. There's only win or learn. So if you have that mindset, you're always learning something new and you're always making strides forward. So I'm looking forward to seeing where you guys end up. I would love to see you guys maybe on a podcast like Joe Rogan with all these big names. Herchevek will tell them that, yo, we had you on a
Yeah,
podcast. Well, back then when we were younger, something like that. You guys are on the right path. So keep going, and
absolutely.
we'll love to see where you guys are in 10 years.
Thank you. We appreciate that. We appreciate that. And that's the beauty of business. That's the beauty of leadership. You can mess up so many times repeatedly for years, mess up, and you can still fix it, and you can still become successful. So we're in such a great field and such a great area of expertise that it's beautiful. I love entrepreneurship. I love business. I love this environment that we're in. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for joining this podcast, this episode. It was truly an honor and truly a treat for Gabriel and I to get to meet you guys.
Thank you guys.
Definitely. Thank you guys.